the champagne, pop the champagne in the penthouse suite. Hello and welcome to another week of The Moment. And this one is coming to you from Nimbin in northern New South Wales. I know. What am I doing in Nimbin? Well, I'm getting really hot. That's for one thing. That's one thing. There's like a heat wave going on at the moment, and there was a huge rainstorm. It's been pretty incredible, thunder, lightning, and now it's all calm again. But I'm here filming an episode of Backroads for ABC TV. So I apologise. I'm in my accommodation, which is the beautiful Grey Gum Lodge. They have been so wonderful to us here, me and the crew from Backroads. They've looked after us, but it's just really nice, when you stay in a big country house and it just feels like you're somewhere special, You can feel the history in the place and the air moves through it because that's how they're designed. And it just, you're out in nature, sleeping beautifully. I'm feeling fab, actually. I've been loving it. But yes, Backroads is looking into the town of Nimbin. And I guess some of the preconceived ideas that you might have of it and how wrong really is what I'm finding out. They really are. It's a beautiful community full of lovely people and, gosh, it's absolutely gorgeous here as well. But look, it's too hot for me. I'm a southern gal. I like a colder climb. I like layers, I've decided, after living a bit in Brisbane over the last few years. It made me really appreciate my love of clothes and wearing jackets and shirts and layering. I can't do this climate. I don't know how to dress and I don't know how to take myself seriously. I just get hot all the time. And I'm already a sweaty middle-aged lady at the best of times. Yeah, so I'm trying my best to maintain my composure, but there's no point wearing makeup for TV. It's just too hot. I don't know how people do it, to be honest. But anyway, you can see this episode of Backroads from Nimbin, where this episode of The Moment is recorded from my room. I've done the setup. Look, I did this myself with the help from the crew who's helped me out with some lighting. So we're doing our best. It won't look like this every other week, but if you want to watch me on YouTube here at beautiful Grey Gum Lodge, feel free. I've put some local art in here. I bought this the other day. Isn't this beautiful? I'm leaning into my animal trinkets. I don't know about you, but it's happening. You know how you get to a certain age and all of a sudden it's just animal trinkets, that's all you look at? I'm there now. And this is by a local artist, Suzanne McGanley, I think. Isn't it beautiful? It's a kookaburra, ceramic kookaburra for those not watching, and it's beautifully glazed. It's just, I love it. But like I said, ornaments and trinkets of all animals is coming soon. I have to stop myself. I'm trying to get just like good art pieces at this point, but I can see it's going to go downhill rapidly and it'll be anything and everything that is an animal in the next 10 years. It's over. I'm just going to lean into it, all right? I've got lots of things to chat about, actually. Lots of stuff has happened over the last few days that I'm sure you'll be interested in. Thanks for all your messages too. I do love getting them. Lots of people are DMing me. And it's been really lovely to know that you're enjoying the podcast and getting something out of it. It actually really means a lot to me. So keep those messages coming. Because now we've settled in and I'm a bit at the point where I'm like, okay, so what happens now? I guess I just keep going. And I guess we just enjoy this moment together. But yeah, settling in. So it's nice to get some messages because now I just feel like I'm looking into a void almost because all the excitement of the launch is over. The Moment, direct from Nimbin. Here we go. Charli XCX, a woman who knows what's what, who's very on trend. I mean, she gave us Brat Summer. Who's ever had a whole summer named after them? No one. Anyway, she knows exactly what's hot, and she's called a movie that she's now a part of, which is a mockumentary. She's called it The Moment. Those who know. It's a film directed by Aidan Zamiri. It's been written by Zamiri and also Bertie Brands, and it stars Charli XCX. Rosanna Arquette, Kate Burler, Jamie Demetriou, Hayley Benton, Gates, Isaac Powell, and Alexander Skarsgård. So lots of stars are involved. I think there's a Jenna in there too, one of them. I can't tell. And this is a mockumentary that revolves around a pop star who's gearing up to leave to take on her first arena tour. And Charli has said it's a 2024 period piece, which is lovely because 2024 was last year and that just makes us all feel old. Period piece. I'm sure there's a nod and a wink there. But she's also said it's not a tour, documentary, or a concert film. In fact, it's more about the idea of being pressured to do one, which I imagine she was. And she sort of thought that that market had been flooded and catered for and there's no need really for yet another concert film. So this is her way of doing a concert film. I think it's fantastic. Zamiri, the director, has stated that the film explores what would have happened if Charli XCX had made entirely different choices around her sixth studio album, Brat. So there you go. It's what could have been had the story been different in a parallel universe. And I think that's also excellent. It'll be released in January next year and I cannot wait to see it. Good news for fans of Jim Henson, The Muppets, Sesame Street, all of those beautiful, beautiful puppet shows. They're more than that though. They're called puppet shows, but they were so much more. They were our life when we were kids, especially Sesame Street. I mean, the Muppets too, but Sesame Street every day on ABC. It's funny, I've been in Nimbin, and of course Nimbin is kind of known for its open-mindedness about illicit substances, which is really interesting because those substances are now very legal, and I guess they were at the forefront of that. I keep thinking of that Sesame Street parody of the guy who's obviously doing a drug deal, but it's for kids, which was for the parents. You know the one? I think I gave it to the man who put it in the can and took it in the van and gave it to the man. Do you remember that one? I'm probably wrong there, but that's the one I remember, and I keep thinking of it here, even though, there's no deals of that such going on. It's just is what it is. Okay, the Henson Company. They are auctioning off some memorabilia from the Muppets and various other productions for the first time in the Henson Studios' 70-year history. So if you want to get your hands on something, a little bit of beautiful history, you can. Sadly, though, it's less Muppety than you might expect. There aren't any actual Muppets that will be for sale because Henson sold the franchise to Disney back in 2004, I think, and he sold it for $74 million. So they would have all of those Muppets archived. They would be in storage somewhere where they would be very safe and they would be looked after. And you'll probably see them in a museum down the track, 100 years down the track. And people will be looking at them going, what the hell was that? It'll be the Punch and Judy of our time, I'm sure. There are some props, though, that you may, if you've got any spare cash, which none of us do at this point, you may want to splash out on a pair of Miss Piggy's production pumps, they're called. That's her high heels to you. They are going to auction for about 7,000 to 9,000 American dollars, and they come from the 1981 comedy, the film, The Great Muppet Caper, which I remember very, very well. You will be able to get your hands on some Fraggles, though, which is good news. Remember the Fraggle Rock? Come and join me, Murray's for another day. Let the music play down at Fraggle Rock. Some people might be triggered by me singing that theme song. That TV show ran on HBO in the 1980s, and apparently quite a few puppets will be available. Not a high demand for the Fraggles. Which is sad, because it was cute, but maybe not quite Muppets vibes. Good news for our favourite gal, another favourite gal, Lily Allen, whose album has continued to redefine what it is to write a breakup album, i.e. you can now write a breakup album that exposes all, can be as raw can be. Sorry about the traffic noise too. There's a main road out the front, so there's not much I can do. Anyway, it's been huge for her. It's gone beyond, when I think she actually made the record just purely to process what she'd experienced through music, had no intention, had no desire for this to be a successful record, and in fact probably assumed that it wouldn't be. So it's really worked, and it looks like dishing the dirt on your ex in the most honest way is where we're headed as a culture. And I think that's really interesting too. It is a moment for women who have felt like they can relate in very strong ways to be more open and honest about perhaps their own experiences. And for this, I'm really grateful, because for too long, the expectation is that women should remain quiet in situations whereby there is clearly what seems to be some sort of abuse going on, whether it be emotionally or coercively. There's all sorts of ways. So this has changed the culture, and I think that's really important. But people have connected so much that her theatre tour tickets were released online and it sold out in 10 minutes. So she's now decided to do an arena tour, her very own Charli XCX brat tour. So it's going to be a Lily Allen breakup record summer, I think. I don't know how that'll translate on stage. Bit grim, but the songs are catchy. I can see whole stadiums singing along to Pussy Palace with their phones. It's going to work. And she's a great performer too. I mean, I've seen her many times over the years. I was there when she first started. I'm that old. So she can do this. I said last week on the podcast that I might discuss AI in music and perhaps explore that a little further. And I've got a reason today, so I thought, let's dive in. In Australia, the Country Music Association is grappling with the very question of AI, and I kind of thought this would be the last bastion of where things would have to remain real and true, and that is country music, because, you know, they keep things very simple over there. But no, it's affecting them too. They're currently going through submissions for the 2026 Golden Guitar Awards, or I'll just say they're currently going through submissions for the next Golden Guitar Awards, the Country Music Awards here in Australia, and apparently 5 AI-generated songs were submitted. So this changes the game significantly. The nominations have been announced, and the CMAA chair, Dobe Newton, said that more than 280 judges made a very, very quick decision to ban entries that had no human involvement. But I guess that opens up the next question. What is human involvement? So if a human has actually, say, written the songs, but then it's performed by an artist that was created via the technology of AI, there is a human element. So again, it's a little bit unclear. And I do suspect that a lot of musicians have been utilising the technology anyway, because the technology makes a lot of the processes a bit simpler. So that's a human element as well. It's being used as a tool. What do we do here? How do we know what that human element is? And how do we judge something? How do we let it in to be judged in an awards, or to be even allowed to be on a streaming platform? It's already happened. In America, there are quite a few songs that are actually charting right now. Zania Monet is a creation by a woman who says she is a poet and a songwriter. She's written lots of songs and poems. Talisha Nikki Jones is her name, and she's said that the lyrics are 100% her, so that is the human involvement. She's just created the person that is Zania Monet. And these poems that she's written were based on real life experiences, and therefore the songs are hers. And sadly, this creator has signed on behalf of Zania a $3 million record deal after Zania's songs hit 17 million streams in just 2 months. I feel sad about this. However, she's written these songs, so again, conflicted. What makes me really uncomfortable, though, is the artist that she's created. I get it. I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want to see this. But does that just make me old? Why couldn't she have the songs, even utilising the technology to get things like melody to get things like melody and structure right. I mean, people are probably already using AI. That ship has sailed for that. It's just it's the character for me. It's the, they might as well be dead and it might as well be a hologram. And didn't we say no to that? But then we didn't. ABBA is holograms. Like, well, at least ABBA were real. It's happening in Australia too. We have a songwriter, Jason Sutcliffe, who is also a singer, who's been slogging it out for about 20 years and has been knocked back for 20 years. And he got jack of that, decided to create an alter ego that was based on people that he knew and people that he liked. He's made a character called Dimitri, who's a Greek Australian and a beautiful singer, and very, very hot. Dimitri's got abs for days. And apparently Dimitri is so hot that he's getting lots of DMs from mature age women and men. And it's working. Dimitri's getting plays. And even for Dimitri's creator, Jason, it's bittersweet. He said that I'm thrilled that Dimitri is getting attention and that I might get opportunities because of him. But I'm sad I had to do it this way. But why did he have to do it this way? That's the question. Is this just a moment for AI where people are interested, so therefore they will get attention for these characters that they create, and that will die once we realise it's completely soulless? I'm hoping that's the case, that it will fade and we will go back. And I'm hoping that even if people use that technology to create, which is already happening, and that is fine, that we don't need to create a simulacra of what already exists, that we can employ a singer to sing these songs, that we can employ musicians to perform the music. I mean, there won't be musicians if we don't do that. I think there's got to be transparency from the creator. I think we can't be duped into thinking this is real. But sadly, the BBC have just reported that a survey was taken quite recently that showed 97% of respondents could not spot an AI-generated song. They've got a list of telltale signs, which I'll get into as well, which could be helpful. But the first telltale sign is that they look shit. I mean, really, that airbrushed business, I know that will change very, very soon as well. But they just look like AI at this point. The only place that I think that AI might be relevant and useful for a small section of the population, mostly in America, is for Republicans, specifically an artist who is a rapper who goes by the name of Topher, who is known as a MAGA rapper. Now, I don't know what that means. Does he wear the red hat? I don't know. But he has used AI to create a gospel song that also charted, and the artist that he created was Solomon Ray, and it's gone very, very well. I feel like this section of the community are the only ones who might have a reason to use AI, purely because when you think about it, most creative types, most musicians are probably not right-leaning for obvious reasons. And we know this because in America, if anyone's music, a la Bruce Springsteen, gets utilised by Donald Trump for his election campaigns, they swiftly, very, very quickly ask him to cease and desist, because people don't want to be associated, because these creative folk don't want to be associated with what Trump represents. Goes against a lot of their values, goes against a lot of their beliefs. So frankly, the only person who needs to use AI for music is Donald Trump, because no other self-respecting artist will let him. But yes, here are more hints if you are struggling to recognise an AI artist. Their social media presence will be quite thin on the ground. I mean, they're not alive, so they don't have a history. Gosh, I just feel uncomfortable talking about it. Why are we doing it? Is it because we've been conditioned to it? Is it because of those crappy reality TV shows where they're all about real estate and making money and, And all the songs that they've created, they were probably AI as well. You know the ones, they go, if they've got to sell a house, the song is like, gotta make that money, gotta make that money. And then they go up to the penthouse suite and they go, pop the champagne in the penthouse suite. And it's like the worst music. How have we let this happen? I think those reality shows, those real estate reality shows were the gateway drug to AI, to letting us all let it happen. Unacceptable. Anyway, back to the tips. I diverted there. What a surprise. Little side quest. I think another thing that's obvious is pics look photoshopped, and they do. And especially in the case of Dimitri, if you look at those photos, there's something a bit wrong, like his jeans. I went straight to the jeans, not because I was looking at that. No, don't think like that. The design of the jeans I looked at, and he was wearing True Religion jeans style from 2005. No self-respecting singer would be wearing True Religion jeans from 2005. Although, unless he's completely predicting a forward trend that hasn't happened yet, they're not wearing those jeans. Another tip that you can tell it's AI, apparently it lacks emotion. I don't think people can tell that. AI can't experience heartbreak because they're not human. So, that's one of the greatest skills of a great singer is to channel things like heartbreak and human emotions. And there's an edginess to that. There's a suspense to that. There's a sense of loss to that I'm not sure a voice that is computer generated can create yet. So I think that's a good one. Now, some have been very open about the music that they make utilising AI. And again, I go back to that not being as much of an issue. Transparency is required. But the Beatles, for example, they used machine learning to extract the voice of John Lennon from a 1970s cassette that was found in an attic. You might recall that one from a couple of years ago when they wanted to re-release that as their last song, which came out in 2023. And I think that was an interesting project, sure. As long as the remaining members of the band who are still alive, they're okay. I think that's fine. And someone like Imogen Heap, who has been almost a performance artist, I guess, as much as a musical artist, is using AI and the technology to work with her fans and get on top of, I guess, the mountain of work that comes with being an artist now. And she's very, very open and transparent about that. And I think this is the case. I think it needs to be a separate section in our streamers. I think people need to know clearly that this has AI as part of its creative process, purely for the sake that we get to choose whether or not we get to listen. And for these platforms who have made their gazillions off artists and creatives, that is surely something we must demand from them. We must insist that they be transparent about that so we can make that choice about what we want to put in our ears. That seems only right. And that's up to us. That's up to our governments. And that's up to us putting pressure on the streamers to make it very, very clear that this is not entirely human, at least, especially when it comes to voices, I think. So, yeah, I did have some thoughts on that, a lot more than I thought. Hopefully it'll be clear. And when you know that something is done, that something is not cool anymore, it's when the kids are slagging it off, okay? So the next generation, Gen Alpha, I think they're called, although numbers and generations I can't get my head around. I think everybody should be the same. It's nice to use as a general definition, but quite useless when it comes to comparisons. This is what the kids are saying. 6-7 is over. Okay, dictionary.com and your stupid word of the year, 6-7, gone. Kids are over it. I'm over it. I was over it when you announced it. This is what the kids are saying. If they think something is perhaps a load of shit, bullshit, you know what they're saying? That's AI. So they know. They know exactly what's what. They've used it as slang. So something that's bad, something that's rubbish, that's AI. Try that. And they're also using this to describe people who are greedy or they're just a bit not quite right. They're saying, they're calling people like that Elon Musk. So So that's when you know it's over. It's not cool anymore. And the minute it's not cool, no one wants a part of it. And I genuinely think when you look at these AI artists, they are not cool. They look terrible. They dress badly. They got no style. They're not quite right. It's embarrassing. So until they get better at that, they know. Oh, and speaking of word of the year, Cambridge Dictionary has come through with their word of the year, and this one is okay. I don't hate it. I don't hate it so much. It's called parasocial. They've chosen parasocial, okay, which is, of course, interest in one-sided parasocial relationships that people form with celebrities, influencers, and apparently they also have parasocial relationships with AI chatbots. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Some people use AI for good. But this is their word of the year, and I like it. It's a combination of two words, again, para and social, that to form one word. What is it with you lot? But at least it's explaining something. It's no 6, 7 that doesn't actually explain anything at all. It just explains that you know an in-joke amongst your generation. And it's way better than vibe coding, which has no vibe. All right, I'm going to end on a couple of fun stories. One that will include farshun and farshun with heart. That's coming up. But first up, a shout out to the Crows of Sweden. Yes, we are doing bird talk now. The Crows of Sweden have got involved in a startup, and I love this. A little startup company built a device that they've placed around the city, like they do, say, parking machines. It's a machine that replaces food for litter. So the wild crows of Sweden have worked it out pretty quickly because they're incredibly smart. They've mastered it straight away, and they're now being part of reducing the billions of ciggy butts that are thrown each year. So they go around the streets. We've got to get the pigeons and the seagulls onto this, I think. They go around the streets because in Europe everyone's still smoking. It's still very cool. Not that I'm endorsing it, I'm not, but they still smoke. And these little crows are going around picking up the ciggy butts, dropping them off in a machine and getting fed. Work for reward. I love that. And just finally, this is the fashion story, the good news fashion story for you. In New York, there has been a fashion parade that has showcased the wool of gay sheep. I love this so much. It's part of a campaign to raise money for rams that prefer same-sex partners, and it is a thing. It is a problem. If they don't do their job, they don't get to live. Apparently, the rams get killed, which is horrible. So this is a campaign to raise money for them and to raise money for LGBTQI plus campaigns. It's a collaboration between the designer and Grindr. So it's all for a good cause. 1 in 12 rams are gay. The survey is in. 1 in 12. And these rams are slaughtered if they don't do their job. So this will save the rams. The wool of the gay sheep is then used to create clothing items. And the parade was held in New York City in the last couple of days, and I love it. So the designer is Los Angeles-based Michael Schmidt, who's dressed the likes of Beyonce and Taylor Swift, apparently. And the items include dungarees, hats, dressing gowns, sailing hats, all sorts of things crafted for the show. And then the company has been launched, and the models that walked down the catwalk showcasing these pieces were drawn straight from the Gay Cultural Archive, and they included Leatherman, firefighters, sport jocks, and I'm not talking undies if you're here in Australia, jocks, you know. Look, it was like the village people in gay woolens. I love this idea. The catwalk was hot, of course, and it was fashion for a good cause. It was fashion for a cause that none of us knew about until they did this. And I love that, saving gay sheep and looking hot at the same time. Now, that's a note I want to end on because that's something that people here in Nimbin would get around, I reckon, if they knew, because that's the kind of place this is. It's open-minded and supportive and very much based in community because they grew out of alternative communities that existed outside of the system for so long. A lot of the kids grew up within that, and they have a very interesting way of looking at life, and I think you'll be really fascinated. I certainly have been. Look, this has been interesting doing my podcast from my guest house. I've loved it, actually. I hope it works. I hope you've enjoyed, and I'll see you back. Oh, tomorrow on the next podcast, we are going to be talking to somebody who has lived a life. Yes, she has. Sold millions of records, performed in front of the entire world as part of the opening of the Olympic Games in Sydney in 2000. She's amazing. And she's also got, I'm sure, has lots to say about growing up as a young woman in the music industry and under the glare of the media at that time, which was pretty brutal. And I'm talking about Vanessa Amorosi. I love her. Powerhouse vocals. Amazing singer. We're going to catch up with her tomorrow on the moment because she's having a moment as well. She's coming back to celebrate 25 years. And she should celebrate it. She survived. It's a tough industry and it was brutal on women in those days. So that's coming up on the show tomorrow. And then I'll be back at home in my studio and I'll bring you another newsy episode or whatever I damn well want, whatever I think is the moment for you on Thursday's episode. So until then, have a great day, however you're listening, whenever you're listening, and lots of love. I'm going to go and have a wine. Is that all right? Can I say that? Time for a wine. It's wine time. I'm doing it. I've had a long day. I've been shooting since Sparrows Park too. So, yeah. But I didn't want to not do this podcast because I enjoy it as much as you and it makes me feel good too. So hopefully it makes you feel good. All right, love ya. See ya. Look, I know I said it was over and it was the end of the podcast, but here's an extra bit for you. Late breaking news. I've just got a press release from Zanro, who knows my interests. My bang-on co-host. She sent this to me. It's under strict embargo, but whatever. It'll be fine by the time this goes to air. The Macquarie Dictionary has weighed in. I can't believe we're still talking about this. The Macquarie Dictionary has weighed in to announce that their committee's word of the year for 2025 is, and this is so relevant, so perfect. It's everything I've been talking about today. Can you guess it? It's not a word though. They've fucked that up, all right? They've fucked it up. I'm upset about that, but it's so good. This is how you do word of the year, everybody else. This is how you do it. Even if it's not a word, it's two. And even one of those words is 2 letters. It's AI slop. I think I even used it today. And you know what that means? Exactly what you think it is. It's low quality content created by generative AI, often containing errors and not requested by the user. No one wanted it. No one wants this. No one wants the singers who are unreal. No one wants that. Let's stand strong and firm in that. It's AI slop. It ain't any good. It's embarrassing. We're done. Thank you, Macquarie Dictionary. You've brought sanity back to the word of the year, even though what you've done is illegal by using letters and 2 words. I forgive you for this. Anyway, off we trot. See ya. This is an MIK made production recorded on Wurundjeri land. Always was and always will be Aboriginal land.